Okay, part 2 of my project where I make a go-kart using simple tools and no welder. So Colin, where are we at? Right, so we've got a chassis and we've got our engine mounted. And now we know where the engine is, we can put a seat on. So for the seat, I've got a bit of flat plate and a bit of angle iron. I've just bolted them to it to get these little bolts that already come in it. And then we're just going to pen that on there, just like that. Now if you ain't got one of these, don't worry about it, because there's going to be a sheet of ply going under the whole thing towards the end. So there's no reason why you can't just sit on that with a bit of an upstand on. So, let's bolt this on here. And then we can work on our steering column.
Now it is the hour between dog and wolf once more. We can feel this change, so let's settle old scores. When the hours pass, you won't recognize me anymore. There was a time when codified rebellion was just fine. The world reveals itself with age, and we awaken to new ways to collaborate.
There we are, got a steering column. It's pretty solid. Now the track rod's a bit of 10mm threaded bar with some rose bearings on the end. You can get rose bearings off eBay, they're about £3 each. If you want to adjust it, you'll just have to undo the bolt, flip the thing off and then wind it back on again. But you know, we can live with that.
This change, so let's settle old scores. When the hours pass, you won't recognize me anymore. You won't recognize me anymore. Diversity, we should celebrate, however fleetingly. Future, present, past. Change is just an echo feeding back, feeding back.
Right, that's got that sorted. Nice and strong. Now put this little bit of wood up here, not as a bit of decorative thing, but to hold the fuel tank. There's a little bracket here as you can see, because I've managed to cannibalise this little windscreen wash bottle. Now I can't remember what vehicle this come off, but I know it was off a Japanese one, that much is true. But if you can't get hold of one of these, if you go on eBay and just search like little mini fuel tank, you can get things like this, and then you can screw that to it just the same as you can this. Now clip that on there, there's a little slidey bit, that'll go on, and then take my little screw I've got in the end there, and that will pop straight down top of the carb like so. Now next thing we've got, exhaust pipe, and then do all the electrics. And it's good to do the exhaust pipe first, because time and time again I've got all my electrics sorted, gone to put the exhaust pipe on, and I was like, oh god, the exhaust pipe's going to melt all the electrics. So do the exhaust pipe first. Finding it so smooth. Right, that's the exhaust fixed, looks very nice, but we can't just leave it just hanging around there, because it's only connected up onto the engine, and that will work its way loose and then it'll be flopping all over the place. But you get this little band which comes with the exhaust, so we're going to stick that around the can like that, and then we're going to get another bit of threaded bar. We're going to drill holes in our little 45 uprights here, thread it through the clamp, but also get yourself a little bit of 22mm plumbing pipe, or anything the same diameter pretty much as a set of handlebars, because we're going to put that in the end there, and also that's going to hold our little start stop switch thing, which all comes with a wiring loop. And then that will hold that nice and secure, nice and stumpy, nice and neat. You can't ask for anything more really.
Asteroids are on their way. Dark star.
Now the electrics look more complicated than what they actually are, but you've just got 5 wires which stick out the engine, which come out from like behind the stator cap. Now there's this other wire which pops out behind the sprocket. That's if you've got like gear lights which tells you what gear you're in, but we don't need to worry about that, so just cut that off. Now then, you basically just connect the 5 wires up to the engine, and now these little ones that pop out here, they're all colour coded so you can't get them wrong. And then all the other bits and bobs like the stator, the regulator and the kind of CDI unit, just, you know, kind of just bolt or zip tie up around the frame around here. And then this little starter switch, which would go on the handlebars. That's going to go on my little piece of copper down here. And then the ignition key, we can just cable tie that to the side of the frame. And now the only complication I've got on this one, which you might on yours, is I've got one with a starter motor. So you've got a starter solenoid, which basically needs hooking up to the battery. But that doesn't matter. I'm going to stick the battery down here because we've got loads of space around this go-kart. And then by the time we've clipped and cable tied it all up, it'll actually look quite neat and it won't look so complicated. So basically, you're going to need a lot of cable ties for this.
The Phoenix asteroids are on their way.
There we are. Next thing, brakes, accelerator and gears. And then it's done. Now the back brake has actually worked out really well. I've basically just got the caliper, bolted it to a piece of angle iron. I'm about to take a little kind of half moon out of it so it sits on it properly. And then you just stick it over the disc, like that, and then I can just bolt it to the frame. And there we are. It's a complete fluke, but I'll take it. Right, gear system, super simple. I basically put the gear stick that come with the engine on the engine in a straight up position. There's a little rubber thing on it. If you pull that off, and then we'll stick this bar, which has got a hole in each end, shove that across there, and then similar to the brake at the front, I've just got another little bit of metal which I've hinged on a bolt, and we'll just bolt and connect the two together, and that'll be it. Push forward to go down the gears, pull back to go up the gears. And I've got a little bit of tube which I can slot over the top just to make a little bit nicer to grip, and also if you catch your leg on that, a bit sharp that is. We don't want that, do we? Health and safety, people. Now the accelerator is kind of similar to the brake. Put a bolt right out, slid it over. I've used a bit of box section this time, stuck a lock nut on it. That's all really nice. Now I've had to add like a little stopper to this one because obviously there's a spring in the carburetor. When you take the foot off the pedal, it's going to want to spring forward, so it doesn't come too far forward and flop on the ground. There's like this little stopper, so it hits that, can't go anywhere. And then I've bent a little bit of plate up, drilled some holes in it, and that's what the cable's actually going to fix onto for the accelerator. Now there's a little stopper up here which I've just bent a piece of metal up and then got a little inner, what are those things called? Little adjusters, you get them off bike brakes. So I've put one of them on, and then the cable itself, it's a mountain bike gear cable, and you know the little nipple thing on the end, you'll kind of have to grind that down to a point, because where you put it through, the little carb floaty mix thingy, it's a tiny little hole. Normally throttle cables have real tiny little beads on the end, but there's no need to go and get one. You can make one yourself, because this one needs to be quite long. So if we just shove that in the old carb, there we go. Right, just about done. Now then, last job, I just want to put this bit of plywood underneath. Now the reason why I'm doing that, because we've, haven't welded this together. In theory with bolts, there's a bit of play and stuff like that. So it's going to kind of add a little bit of strength to it. And also, Formula 1 cars have plywood, so I can't see why we can't. Yes, I'd say it fits. There we are, finished! So, all it needs now is taken apart, giving some paint, and then it'll look like this.
We've been playing some shows for a while. I've been having some nights on the tiles. They're just stories of mine. There's a lot of blood in this band of ours, and we shed a few tears in the bars, and we stuck to no sweat so far. I still love you, Annabelle. I still love you, Annabelle. Yeah.
Well, it's not done bad. It's not shook itself to bits. The gearing can be changed, because to be fair, fourth gear could probably be second gear. Other than that, I'm pretty impressed with it. And there we have it. Now if you check out my other channel, there's all sorts of other projects, but if you want another no-weld project, I've actually made a jet engine. that's up in this box here. And then if you've made this and it's giving you a little bit of confidence and you want to get a welder and try something very similar, you can make a drift trike, and that's over in this box here. But for now, there we are, the New World Go-Kart. See you in the next one!